Political leaders usually follow two patterns: those who stick to their clear beliefs and those who adjust their positions depending on what gains them support. JD Vance, the current US Vice President, is increasingly being seen as someone who chooses whatever stance benefits him politically at that moment. His latest controversy begins when he argued that large-scale immigration somehow takes away opportunities from Americans. He didn't stop there. He also insisted that every expert who disagrees is being paid by people who profit from the immigration system. With that kind of framing, any opposing evidence is dismissed before the discussion even starts. But instead of debating his claim, the internet focused on contradiction in his personal life. Critics pointed out that Vance's wife is a child of Indian immigrants, and their children have Indian ancestry. If mass immigration is such a threat, they argued, that wouldn't his own family be the part of the problem he is talking about? The hypocrisy was too obvious for many to ignore. This issue didn't appear out of thin air. For months, Vance has been dealing with criticism from different political corners. Some far-right supporters resent his wife's Hindu background and label it negatively. In an attempt to erase that tension, Vance recently said he hoped she would convert to Christianity.
And yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we've decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Old Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will. And so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can. And that's what I try to do.
Something that only added fuel to the fire. Trying to please both extremes has left him stuck in the middle. Even the message he is pushing has shifted. Trump movement initially centered its argument on illegal migration, something nations routinely enforce. Over time, however, the argument expanded to target immigration as a whole. And when you look at actual policies, you see selective exceptions. The administration blocks immigration from many developing regions while simultaneously creating pathways for white South Africans or certain European groups. So the question naturally arises, is the issue really number of immigrants, or is it the background of the immigrants? There is more irony when you look at the history. Trump's own family story begins with immigration. His grandfather came from Germany, and none of his grandparents were born in the United States. Early European settlers, Chinese workers in the 19th century, industrial era Europeans, and post-1965 Asian immigration all helped shape the country. Each wave faced pushback, suspicions, fear-based rhetoric. Yet the American economy repeatedly gained from these arrivals, which is why immigration kept happening. No one is saying the US is obligated to open its border to everyone. Every country has a right to set immigration rules. What people object to is inconsistency, exaggerated sympathy for certain groups while demonizing others using while demonizing others using isolated incidents or misleading narrative. It's this selective approach that exposes the political motivations behind the rhetorics. So the public backlash against Vance isn't surprising. His message clashes with his family background, with American history, even with the policies of the movement he represents. In trying to defend a constantly shifting political narrative, he has ended up highlighting its contradictions.